My name is Deborah Clark. I own 519 Web. We're part of a global franchise, Pinpoint Local, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. Thank you to Carol and the workshop sponsors. We have Jennifer and Shannon on the call as well. Appreciate you reaching out to me, and I'm really happy to be here to help the businesses that you have in the area. So the agenda for the workshop is to discuss why having a Google My Business profile matters, how to set up a Google My Business profile. I'll just talk about some of the basic steps, but then a couple of new resources that are available now in setting up profiles. And then the third part is how to optimize your Google My Business listing. And I've got some tips that a lot of businesses don't even know about and don't use yet with Google My Business. So we'll share those as well. So let's get started. There's a lot to cover. So this is me. A brief background. I moved to the Kincardine area December 2019, spent 35 years before that in the Sarnia-Lambton area, but grew up in Grand Bend. So I've lived along the lake all of my life. My career has spanned over 30 years in business development, marketing, and finance. I left the corporate world in 2014, and since then have been studying online marketing. I've had several online businesses myself, and in December, well, we moved to Kincardine in December 2019, and when coming this way, I thought, what a great way to get to meet people that I like, and it tends to be small business people, or the kind of people that I like, than to help them set up their own websites and online businesses. So that's when 519 Web was born in early 2019, just before we moved to the Kincardine area. And we've been successful. We went into pandemic mode about 3 or 4 months after we moved into our new home. But it's been a great way for me to reach out to small businesses and help small businesses that knew that they needed to get online. So it's been a lot of fun. And it's a way I like to work. This working with people virtually is something that I enjoy, because I did spend most of my career on the road, and it's nice not to have to be on the road. I did mention that there's a Google My Business guide that I will send out to everyone following the presentation, and the links that I'm going to be showing you throughout the presentation will be live in this guide and in the slides that I send to you. So you're welcome to take notes for sure, but don't be worried about trying to take down specific links and that kind of information. Like this quote by Seth Godin: in a busy marketplace, not standing out is the same as being invisible. I think most of us can relate to that, because I've put out many websites, and for a lot of people, the reality of putting out your first website is like having a billboard in a desert, right? Nobody sees it. So we have to find ways to make ourselves visible out there in a very busy marketplace. The good news is, through this whole pandemic that we've just experienced, the desire to shop local and to shop responsibly is going to continue to grow. It's definitely become a theme, a very strong theme through the pandemic, and post-pandemic, we just expect that to grow and grow. So that's really good news for all local area businesses. So why does having a Google My Business profile matter post-pandemic? Well, Google is king in online searches. This graph shows very clearly there's only one line that is even visible to us. The other lines barely hit over 1% on the bottom of the graph. And that red line is Google. So over 90% of market share in searches is Google space. All the others, Bing, Yahoo, all the other search engines that are available to us worldwide barely even hit the map. And this was just in the past year, a graph over the past year. So Google is king. And since Google My Business is a profile or a listing you could have in the Google search engine, you want to be there. So something that came onto the online space in just the last few years is these near me or close by searches. So I don't know if you've done it yourself. You probably have, where you type in this case, I said podiatrist near me. So when we do that, we're activating the map system that Google's got built into searches. And that's what's made them so powerful. That's what's allowed them to take over that search space, as they have the power of integrating the map in their searches. So these near me searches and close by searches, those are the two terms that people use, increased over 900% in the 2 years prior to the pandemic. So you can imagine now, with the focus on shop local, how that's even got even greater. And this little trend graph that the arrow is pointing to here just shows, in the case for podiatrists near me, how it's obviously a growing field for someone to be in. But you can see it about 2014, 2015, we didn't even have nearby or close by searches until that time. And then you can just see how it's continued to grow. And the other bit that I think is interesting for people to see, look in the Google search bar where it says podiatrist near me. As soon as you start typing in podiatrist near, there's this drop down of things that come up below that. This is Google telling you what people are searching related to that term. And it's really interesting information. If you type in whatever keyword suits your industry and see what the drop down is, this tells you what you should be including as far as content, or it lets you know what people are searching. So if I were a podiatrist, when I type in, I go down and look through this, people are looking for local podiatrists, which is great. But here, ingrown podiatrist near me, ingrown toenail, I would definitely be doing some content on my website talking about ingrown toenails if I were a podiatrist and had a website. So this can provide some really useful information for you to know what kinds of things people are searching inside Google. So we call this, when a listing shows up, when you search something and the listing shows up with a map, and it could be 3 listings, it could be 6 listings below that, we call that Google's local 6-pack. In a city, there's usually 6 listings. In smaller, our rural areas, sometimes there's 3. So it's a 3-pack or a 6-pack. But the goal for your business is to get into that space that first comes up before all the other listings of websites in the search below. So again, this is the integration of map and listing. And some of the things that we're going to talk about today will help you. There's no guarantee. There's quite a large, sophisticated algorithm that Google uses to decide who gets into that space. So there's never a guarantee, but there's a lot of things that I'm going to suggest to you today that will help you to get into that Google 6-pack. Huron Shores Foot Clinic is just a single woman that I helped in Kincardine, and she was able to get her website ranking first in that Google 6-pack. So that's, kind of my ultimate goal working with my clients. So reason number 1 why you want to have a Google My Business profile is for local search engine searches, right? This is, you want to get in that local listing. That 3-pack or 6-pack is number 1. If people click on that, they see number 2, which is your actual profile from your Google My Business listing. And number 3, you want that pinpoint on the map. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that as well. But in this case, you can see the dietitian is listed number 1 after shopper's ad, and then her listing and her pinpoint on the map. And that's what you want. That's how you should have your business represented, or what you should be working towards. The number 2 reason why you want to have a Google My Business listing is for reviews. It's a great place to collect reviews. So once you open up, so I typed in farmers markets Orillia, and Orillia farmers market came up. It's a good example because it's got 87 reviews, which is great to see, and it shows up on the map as well. So it's a nice listing. The one thing that I would point out, though, is it's important to maintain your listings. It's important for you to respond to reviews when people make reviews on your listing. And you'll also see here there's opportunity to ask questions on profiles. And so this is the general public can ask you a question. And someone did ask a question, and it says, is your frame market, a typing mistake, I'm guessing it should be farmers market, open June 20? And there was no answer to that. So if I were speaking to Orillia Farmers Market, the folks that run Orillia's Farmer Market, that's one thing that I would suggest to them, is to keep the profile up to date. It will keep them running at the top of the listing, and also to be sure that they're responding to the wonderful reviews that they're getting online as well. Those are all things that Google will be looking for. Related to reviews, we can collect reviews through our profiles, but it's also a great place for us to give reviews. And I think this is important for all of us as we are coming out of the pandemic. Everyone wants to be responsible citizens, and we all talk about shopping local. There's more ways than just buying something from someone that we can help. And one of the ways is by going on and making reviews on other businesses profiles, right? So search a business that you've just shopped with and place a listing. This particular photo is one that I took. I had a couple of retired friends when we were building our house here in Kincardine. So this was pre-pandemic, came and we went to the Rotary Park in Kincardine. They've got an outdoor music park. And one is a retired teacher. She wanted to see the park. So I took this photograph myself and I put it up on the Rotary Park saying we had a great visit to the park and gave them a nice review and was able to post this picture. And then it wasn't too long afterwards, I started getting emails from Google saying, hey, Deborah, your photo's really popular. And it started out 10,000 reviews and then 20,000 reviews. And every different kind of like a benchmark, I was getting another email from them. So you can see it was up to 80,000 reviews and then 97,000. I can tell you today it's got over 120,000 views of this picture. So that's the power that we've got to help small businesses and different places with reviews. So I think we should all be, Canadians have been a little bit reluctant to leave reviews. We haven't been as quick leaving reviews and we should do that more to help our businesses. So there's two ways that you can support businesses and your community with reviews. One is as a consumer. So on the left-hand side of this page, you'll see a bunch of pictures of different items that I purchased. So Southampton Oils, an original artist print, my orthotics from my podiatrist, and a retail shop. I was given a gift certificate and I went and spent some money at the retail shop. Each one of these has had one of them had over 4,000 views, another one had 2,000 views. So that helps these small businesses when you go on their Google My Business page and leave a review. And especially if you can post a photo with that review, it has even more eyes on it. The other thing that you can do is you can become a local guide. So on the right side of the page, it talks about becoming a local guide. And when I posted the photo about the Rotary Park, it's because I, as an individual, am a Google guide, a Google local guide, and that allows me to post. And Google sometimes will send questions just by email to me saying, do you know if this park is wheelchair access, for example? So, Google very much participates with local guides and reaches out to us for different opinions. So again, you'll get a copy of this, but how to become a local guide without going into too much detail. If you already have a Google account, you can sign up just by going to this local guide sign up. Now, if you don't have a Google account, you can create one and become a local guide that way. So you can see this is my personal Google page, and I've made 50 contributions as a local guide. So I just think that's something good for us to think about and to do. So two of the reasons why that we've covered off so far is why you would want to Google My Business page is for searches, because Google is king. And if you want to show up in searches, this is one of the best ways for your business to be found online is with a Google My Business page. And reviews, right? It's a nice way to collect reviews and it's an easy way to also give reviews. So those are two reasons why you would want your business listed on Google. So we're going to move into the section now, how to get started, and then I'm going to share some tips with you as well. So how to get started with your Google My Business profile. You're going to start with a fresh Google page, and I like to show people, you just go into google.com and you come up with this page. You'll see in the top right corner where the arrow is there now, that little round circle has my photo. It means I'm on my personal, in my personal Google profile. The next circle beside it has 3x3 dots. And if you click on those 3x3 dots, this drops down, this menu drops down. And I show people this because a lot of people say, I'm not sure whether I've got a Google My Business account. I might have done that a few years ago. I didn't do anything with it. This is how you check to see if you have a Google My Business account. Because when I drop down on that second arrow where the 3x3 dots are, it brought up these icons. And where the maps is, that's where the Google My Business house should live. And this tells me that this account with Deborah Clark does not have a Google My Business page. So if I click to my next page, you'll see here in the top icon, I'm in my business page, which is my business logo there, 519 Web. You click on the 3x3 dots, this opens up the same area and it shows I do have a Google My Business page. So easy access anytime if you want to make updates, because that's the other thing I get people asking me all the time is, I set up my Google My Business page, I don't know how to get back to it. This is a super easy way. Open up a fresh Google page, go to your 3x3 dots, there's your listing. You just click on it to make your updates. So how to get started if you don't have one, just very simply, you're going to go to business.google.com and you go into the Manage Now button to get started. So we're first going to talk just about a simple small business, one location setup, just basic setup to start with. So you're going to type in the next screen, it's asking you to type your business name. And it asks you to do that. And you can see there's a little search glass there as well. Because when you start typing your name might already be there. I did some work with a hair salon just recently. They've never had a website before, and but they did have quite an active social media accounts. And when I went in and searched their name, even though she hadn't set it up, their salon was listed and it had Google reviews. So businesses can be listed even though you haven't claimed that Google page yet. So that's why they ask you to type your business name in, and you will see if it drops down if your business is there yet or not. If it's not, you do have the choice of adding your business to Google. But a lot of people have been surprised that their business does show up here. And then you type in what is your actual business name that you want registered. When you do this, you're also agreeing to the terms of service. So one of the things about business names that I'll mention, there is a tendency for people to want to add the name of their town or something to their name, thinking that that's going to help them with searches, but it's against the Google My Business terms of service. So I cannot make my name 519 Web Kincardine on my Google profile, because that is not my legal name. My legal name is 519 Web. So that could get your account closed down. So it's important that you register what your name actually is. And then you're going to set up a business category. And again, when you start typing in your whatever category you think you might be in, so in this case, it's a print shop. When I started typing in print, it gave me a whole drop down of possible things that I could choose. Before you have your site verified, before you have your listing verified, just choose one category. I'm later going to show you how to go in and choose some other categories as well. But at the time of verification and getting your account set up, just choose the one that describes your business best. Okay. And this is another tricky one, location. Always have a lot of discussions around this. If you want that little red pinpoint on the map, you have to give your exact mailing address. They do not accept post office boxes. Your listing gets verified against that address, and the actual mailer card to verify will be sent to that location. Now, I'm going to talk in a minute about multiple locations and different things like that. But as a small business, if you want that pinpoint on the map, you have to have an address. Now, if you are someone who works from home, if you're a plumber who doesn't do their work out of their office or their home, they're out servicing, you can have an area described on the map, and that's this other area, this other section. It's a new setting that it's become more popular since more people are working from home. If you don't want customers to see your exact address for some reason, you could define an area that you work from. I'm going to show you what that looks like. So in one case, this is my listing and I had my address. I do have a home office. I chose to have my address. I got it verified with my address and the pinpoint shows up on the map, and that's great. So just recently, since I've been hearing more about them defining areas on a map, I chose to remove my specific address and instead define an area. And when you choose one or the other, it's going to show up one or the other. There is a hybrid option where you can say, have your pinpoint and also define an area, but it's not going to show the area. It's going to show the pinpoint on the map. I'm still, the verdict's out for me, which is better. I kind of miss not having my pin dot show up on the map in searches. When people search and that local 6-pack comes up, I'll show up in the 6-pack, but all my other colleagues that are there, their pin dots will be on the map and mine does not, because I've chosen not to list. So Google knows where I'm located. So people, when they type in near me, it shows up in those searches, but it does not show the pin on the map in that local 6-pack view. Once you click into my own profile, you'll see this is where you see the area defined. So it's an individual. Businesses now, they've broken down categories for healthcare providers, for auto dealers, hotels, for chain businesses, and even service businesses. So they want people to, each of these categories have a different definition of where they'll take you in your Google My Business profile. And if you've got started on just a regular standard profile, they're going to want to switch you over to one of these other more specific profiles. So I've got the arrow at the service business one, just to show you the example here. If your business does not have a storefront where you receive customers, they want you to hide your business address. And in the very initial setup, you should select that you're a service area business. So I just recently took the address off of my business. When I set it up, I didn't have the option of selecting a service area business, but that's what they want people to do now. They want you to define, are you a product or retail service, a product or retail business, or are you a service business? If you were like me and you didn't make this selection at the beginning when you set up your profile, you can update by going into the information part of your listing. And then I show you there on the bottom, you click the address field, you say clear, and then you apply it. And then that allows you to define the service areas that you saw. So Google has made it a little more complex for setting these profiles up now. And it does take a little bit of time, but it's not as straightforward as it used to be. So they are really keeping the general accounts for local, small business, retail, and then they're trying to categorize some of these larger providers or these location groups for different types that are not small businesses, right? Or they're small businesses under one roof. So that they are making it a little bit more complex. The other type that they've set up is an agency account. Again, they make it confusing because sometimes they call it an organization account and sometimes they call it an agency account. But this type of account is for a business that's set up to run other small businesses under their account. So I could be an agency account as 519 Web. I've not done this yet. My coaching so far with small businesses and Google My Business listings has been coaching them one-on-one like this and helping them set up their own Google My Business account. But now I could have an agency account where I could, under 519 Web, set up other small business accounts, and they would be owner of the account, and I could actually help them with it, run it for them from my agency account. So if people want to have be a third party and have other Google My Business accounts under them, they can do that now with an agency account. So these are things that haven't been available in the past. Beth, and you're not alone in your frustrations of trying to get verified, but it's Google trying to slot you into the right type of profile, and they just don't make it very clear and easy for people to do that. But I hope these support emails that I've got, the links that I've got here in the document, I hope that they will help you. Because when you click into that link, it does have a list on the side. If you started it with an existing profile, how you would switch to this new type of profile, or how you just get started fresh as a location group. So they do give you all some good resources there. It's just knowing where to find them. So I hope that helps a little bit. And if anyone has any concerns you want me to follow up with you afterwards, I'm happy to do that. We can try and sort it out for you. So that's a bit about how to get started. And I'm trying to keep things as easy and straightforward as possible. I hope it was a little bit clear, because the waters do get pretty muddy behind the scenes trying to find. There's just so much information. But if there's any specific situations you want to discuss with me further, I'd be happy to jump on a Zoom call with anybody individually and help you chat through it. So let's move on to some of the tips. So you already have a profile account, and what are some of the things that you can do to help you get found more easily? So the first one, how to optimize your Google My Business profile, is that to know during the verification process, you can still add posts, you can still add photos and a logo and a cover image, and you should fill out as much of your profile as you can even prior to verification. This is a screenshot, and I know you can't read the words, but I just wanted to focus on the different parts of this. So again, the number one space, I can't stress enough how when you open your Google My Business or just a regular Google page, to know in that top corner what account you're in. So this was a young gal that I was helping. She's got the circle with an A, that's her business account. She hit on the dots and it dropped down the menu and it shows, yep, that's where my Google My Business listing is. So that's the first thing. Number two, you'll see in the center where the red arrow is going, it's saying that this account is pending verification. And so we're waiting for the postcard to arrive in that particular case. Number three below shows that her business profile is sitting at about 65%. It may never get to 100%. There might be some things you choose not to provide in your profile, but that's okay. But that just tells you what state of completeness your profile is. Number four, I'm going to spend a little bit more time talking about these different things, but this is where the information is, the posts are, the products, the services. We'll talk about those in just a minute. And then the fifth thing that's showing up there is that you can add a manager to your account. So if you want someone else, you can set up your profile, your listing, and if you want someone else to be listed as a manager on that profile so they could add posts or pictures, you can do that now as well on your small business profile. So for any of you that are making posts now in social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or now Google My Business, Canva is a resource that I use. And I don't know if you're not using now, this is going to be a great tip. If you are using it now, the images below will make a lot more sense to you. It's a free account. I use it. This presentation was actually built in Canva. It's the first time I've done a presentation from Canva, but it seems to have gone well in a paid account. In the free account, there's a lot you can do though, as far as setting up these images. And I'm giving you the sizes. That is very helpful. You will refer back to this, I can guarantee, several times. The cover image for the top of your Google My Business profile, that's the size in pixels that you should make your image. The logo square for your Google My Business profile, that's the size that they like. And the product and service images, that's the size that they like. So you'll find this as a useful resource to come back to, I'm sure. But if you haven't given Canva a try, go ahead. I think you'll find it for social media posts, and anything related to pictures is amazing. So the second thing is making sure all your information is complete. You want to add your website, secondary categories, and business hours. So let's just talk a little bit about those. So there's the sidebar that I was saying that you find in your Google My Business screen. And the one that you want to spend a lot of attention with in the beginning is the info section. So this is where you're going to add your website address. This is where you can go in and add 2 or 3 different categories. So in the beginning, you're just adding one at the verification stage, but I'm going to show you a tip for adding your second and third. And it's also where you're going to add your business hours and keep your hours current. And I can't stress this enough. This is another area that Google really took off over other review sites, like Yelp was a review site that was out there. They took off because during the pandemic, people didn't know whether businesses were opened or closed. And people relied on being able to do a simple search and then having this profile pop up on the right side of the screen and show your business hours, whether you're open or closed. People are using this to see if you're open and closed more than any other source right now. So Google My Business is how people are tracking whether or not your business is open. You can put up COVID rules and regulations on your Google My Business listing. So these are being looked at on a daily basis by people that are visiting your businesses before they come, and you should be keeping your hours up to date here and keep them current. I get emails from Google now saying, we've got a holiday coming up, will you be open or closed? Right, so you can put in the traditional holidays that you would know, and then if there's one that you hadn't put up, they will actually send an email and say, are you going to be open on that particular day or not? So that's how active the business hours has become with Google My Business Listings. So I mentioned adding secondary categories. It's a good idea to check what your competitors' category listings are. So when you search, in this case, it was a custom printing company near me. And when I went in and searched, I was working with Freestyle Cartel, actually, which is at number 2. And he listed his place as a custom t-shirt store. But I found it interesting when I went into this general search and looked at the competitors in this local 3-pack that came up, all of them had something different. The first guy said print shop. He said custom t-shirt store. Next one said screen printer. And all 3 of them do the same kind of work. So I would check your competitors' category listings, and I would make sure that in your listing, you cover off all 3 of those categories, that you're a print shop, your custom t-shirt store, and a screen printer as well. So that's my tip for adding secondary categories. And the next tip is about products and services. And this is important because this is a search engine optimization tip. Your products and services are searchable through Google. And the amazing part to me is only 4% of Google My Business profiles actually list products and services. And this is one of the main pieces. Google doesn't search your description on your profile, but they do search your products and services. So more people need to take advantage of this. And this is just an example of what my product page looks like. You'll see again, the strip that would be down it's on the left-hand side of your page when you open your back end of your Google My Business profile. You'll see products there, and then just add new products. You want to add a photo, you can add title, description, pricing, and right below products is services. And I recommend that you make listings in both areas. And just so that you know, that photo sizes, that last one that was listed there, product service images, that's the size. So the images that you see here, that's the size in Canva that we made them to make them show up properly. So we've got about 10 minutes to go, and I've got just a couple more tips that I'm going to share off with you here. Some things that Google likes that you should know about. Google likes reviews. Reviews are like currency online. We as consumers like reviews, and that's why Google likes them as well, right? We do, before we make purchases, we check reviews. The more reviews you can build, the better it will be for your profile. Google likes quality, consistency, and quantity. So let's talk about quality. Quality to Google means original content. They want to have, you can take excerpts from other stories, but they want you to have your own original content as much as possible. They like original images more than stock images wherever you can. That's why that one image got circulated so much of me taking the ladies out in the park, right? That's not a stock image. That was a real photograph, something new to the internet. So remember, Google is this big resource. It's pulling in new content. So the fresher, the newer, the more relevant content is what they're looking for. Consistency, they like to see regular contributions. So if you set up a new profile and you add 20 pictures or 20 posts to and then never touch it again, that's not so good. It would be better if you did 3 or 4 this week, 3 or 4 next week. And the same thing with reviews. You don't want to go out and get 100 reviews all at the same time with your new profile. You would be better to paste them in. Do 10 reviews this week, 10 reviews next week, and keep them just happening on a consistent basis. That's more the way business would naturally happen. And Google pays attention to that. And then quantity, the more you add, the better from a search engine perspective. In totality to Google, that means longevity, right? So I don't mean 100 at once. I mean spacing them out, being consistent, but overall quantity and time will win with Google. So these are all things to remember when you're posting anywhere, not just on the Google My Business profile, but any social media as well that Google is going to be searching. This is the kinds of things that they like. And they've got a mobile app. This is my newest little tip for you. You can add a request a quote button on your Google My Business profile on your mobile phone. And this gets you into a live chat with the business owner. So what you need to do to get this to show up, so the one that you see on the right with the blue request a quote is what it looks like on my desktop when it comes up. So it shows up there, but I had to set it up on my mobile phone. And then the other long strip that's in the middle is what it actually looks like on my mobile phone. The request a quote's in the middle. And then above that, there's also a little chat circle you'll see. And if you look down in the mobile version in the middle, if you look down into the words, it says online appointment, serves Bruce County and nearby areas. I was closed at the time I was doing this. So again, that's showing you how active this was, right? I was probably doing this at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And I was closed at the time. But then it says request a quote, and it will say usually responds in a few minutes. If you respond in a day, it's going to say that. So they keep track of how frequently you respond to people. So it's important that if you're going to put in a request a quote type button on your Google My Business profile that you do respond to those messages. But you get them in a lot of places. I get it showing up in my email. I get it showing up in a message. It's pretty easy to follow those messages. So that's my newest little tip. Very few businesses, when I go through and search businesses now and look at their profile, very, very few businesses, like maybe 1 in 10 would actually have a request a quote button on it for active communication. And since we're so mobile, most people are searching this now on our phones, that is a really good resource for you to have. So that is how you get found online. Google My Business is no longer optional. I feel it's an essential part of any online business strategy. Customers are going to search for your hours, your COVID protocols, your specials, your events. They're looking for you online, and they're going to find that Google My Business profile probably first. And then that's how they're either going to call you, visit your store, or go to your website from there. So I did some searching with other sources. This came from Forbes, but Google My Business profiles will improve your local SEO. It can single-handedly improve a local business's search engine optimization. It's integrated with Google Maps, so it makes it easier for people to find your place of business and also to get directions there. No other search can do that, can integrate that for you. It's a great first impression for people that are searching. And it's an easy place for people to leave reviews for your business. So that gives a lot of social credibility. And I know that digital marketing can be overwhelming because digital marketing is literally anything that you do online. It could be social media, it can be search engine optimization, it can be sending out emails, it can be your website. Digital marketing takes in anything that's online. So I know that can be overwhelming. What if I could tell you that you could get 80% of digital marketing results for just 20% of the effort? Would you be interested in finding out what those few things are that you need to do? Well, I would think yes, I was certainly interested. So there's 4 areas that you need to take care of to optimize your digital marketing campaigns in total for search engine optimization. And these 4 areas are client communication, so the ability to communicate back and forth with your customers and potential customers. Reviews, collecting, monitoring, replying to reviews. Your social media posts. And the social media posts, it means knowing which social medias to use, right, where your customers are. And then the final one, local SEO, which the Google My Business profile is a big part of, I'll tell you, for local SEO. And I'm really happy to tell you that Pinpoint Local has a new digital marketing dashboard coming this fall. I'm mentioning it to you because our new platform will do these 4 things. They do email and text communications with your customers from one platform. They'll collect and monitor reply reviews from all different sources in one platform. We do 8 to 10 social media posts from the platform. There's search engine optimization done for you on a monthly basis, all from one platform. And it's being launched actually in August, but I do have my plate full in August with new customers coming on board, but I will take wait lists for people that are interested for this fall. So this one single platform would help you get found, get customers, and get results by handling these 4 things from one platform. So I just wanted to mention that to you today as well. But if I can help you with anything we've talked about today, I want you to reach out to me. I'm available by phone, text, by email, and I'd be happy to spend a few minutes with you and talk about what your needs are and if I can help you. So with that, I think we've got like 5 minutes that we can open up if someone has a question. I want to say thank you again to the folks that have supported the workshop, and don't forget to be a local supporter and leave reviews. Leave reviews when you've participated in something locally and it was a good experience for you. Make sure that those organizations know.